The 1994 Street Fighter is the definition of a guilty pleasure movie. Now, growing up as a kid, I was never a huge Street Fighter fan. I liked Street Fighter, but I was always more of a Mortal Kombat fan. But I grew up watching this movie religiously and loving this movie religiously. Of course, when you watch it back now, when you get older, this movie is campy and goofy. But that's the charm of Street Fighter 1994. Does this movie follow Street Fighter to the T? No, it does not. But that doesn't mean that this movie is all that bad. I mean, it ain't great by any stretch of the imagination, but this movie is very, very entertaining. And when you watch it back now, it's still really entertaining. It still has some good things to it. And I'm going to give you my positives and my negatives. Positives. Raul Julia as Bison is unbelievable. Raul Julia puts so much dedication into this role, and it tells on screen that the man is having a ball being this over-the-top villain. Raul Julia steals the show in this movie. He is fantastic. But however, I think other actors kind of get overlooked in this movie. You got Andrew Bernarski who plays Zangief, and I think Andrew Bernarski as Zangief is really underrated in this movie. He is really legitimately funny as Zangief in this movie. He's got 3 scenes where his delivery is utterly fantastic. Scene number 1, Bison is given this over-the-top villain speech, which is thoroughly entertaining to watch. And once it ends, Zangief just is almost crying because he got touched by the speech, and he's just like, "That was beautiful." And then you get the character of DJ, played by Miguel Nunez Jr., who just turns his head slightly, looks at him, and is like, "What?" Another great scene is where they're at this camp with the Bison and Sagat and a bunch of other characters, and they're talking business. And Chun-Li and Chun-Li, Honda, and Balrog kind of like set up a bomb that's like going towards them because it's in like this truck sort of thing, and they're watching it from a TV. And Zangief pretty much has and what is the funniest line and the best moment in the entire movie. He just screams out, "Quick, change the channel!" And once again, DJ just looks at it with that "what the fuck" face. And then you have another great moment, again with Zangief and DJ, where DJ is trying to escape the Bison's compound as it's being under attack by Guile and his crew, and he steals a briefcase of this big giant case full of cash, and Zangief stops like, "DJ, where you going? Help me fight." And DJ's like, "Nah, man, me got to go." And he's like, "I got paid." And then Zangief does like, "You got paid?" It's like, Andrew Bernarski as Zangief is an underrated gem in this movie. He is great. Not only that, I think the fight between Zangief and Honda is goofy, but very, very funny. And kudos for having the Godzilla sound effects. And DJ by Miguel Nunez Jr. A lot of my favorite scenes in this movie have Zangief and DJ. They're a very underrated comedic duo in this movie. One gripe I have against this movie, I would have liked to have seen more of DJ and Zangief. They just have... It's Zangief who is like almost dim-witted in a way, but he means well. And then you got DJ who is like the level-headed guy who just looks at who just has the looks of, "What the fuck?" It's great. Zangief and DJ are a very underrated comedic duo in this movie. I think this movie's strength. If this movie this movie was already campy, but you should have embraced what you had going with Zangief and DJ. You didn't scratch the surface of what kind of comedic mileage you could have gotten out of this too. Another character I liked in this movie, I liked Wes Studi as Sagat. I thought Wes Studi fit the role of Sagat really, really well. I don't think this movie did nearly enough with the Sagat character, but you had a good actor who made him stand out. Ken and Ryu are both played very, very well, respectively. I think their actors fit the roles fine. Vega, he was fine too. Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile is give and take. In his fight scenes, he handles himself really well. But Guile is supposed to be 100% quintessential American, and Jean-Claude Van Damme obviously is not American. To me, he did not fit the role whatsoever. So Van Damme to me is kind of give and take. There are certain moments that I like, and there are certain moments where I think he's legitimately funny and handles himself very well in the role. And then there are other moments where he's like, "Yeah, I'm just not feeling you in this thing." Another gripe I have against this movie now. When I did play Street Fighter as a child, I've always liked the character of Blanca, who was like this green, monstrous-looking motherfucker. And the character of Blanca is in this movie, and I give the movie credit for trying to give Blanca a purpose to be in this movie. Pretty much, this character named Charlie, who is a friend of Guile, is under captivity of Bison, and Bison is going to turn Charlie into a genetic super soldier. And by doing that, he pretty much turns him into a mindless attempts to turn him into a mindless monster. So, I kind of understand how they're trying to give Blanca a purpose in this movie. I just don't like how Blanca looked. Blanca looks like this muscly bound gorilla looking motherfucker, and in this he just looks normal. If you're gonna go all the way, go all the way. Get someone who is as big as Andrew Bernarski playing Blanca, and just have the actor just dub the voice. You know, make Blanca look monstrous. Instead, he just looks like a guy with green makeup and orange hair. Didn't like how it looks. Not only that, Blanca's barely in the fucking movie. And when we do see Blanca, he's shrouded in darkness because he and Dowson are hiding out in the laboratory down below from the compound. And Blanca barely has anything to do, and that sucks because I'm a big Blanca guy. Blanca's been my favorite character in Street Fighter since I was a kid, and this movie does absolutely nothing with him. I hated it then, and I hate it now. I don't like it at all. Another gripe. This movie's called Street Fighter, and there's barely any fighting in this movie. The fighting don't come like the last half hour of this movie, where you're just like, okay, it took you long enough. But, you know, some of the fights, for what they are entertaining and goofy. Like I said, Zangief and Honda have a goofy fight. The fight between Guile and Bison is gleefully over the top, but very entertaining to watch. Because you just got Raul Julia just shouting these over-the-top quips at Guile during the entire fight. And yes, we do see, you know, the Hadouken when Ryu is fighting Vega. We see Ken do his famous spinning punch when he's fighting Sagat. You know, Bison. No, we see the Psycho Crusher with Guile. With Bison. So, I give Steve D'Souza credit. He does implement the special moves the best way he can while taking away the supernatural elements. Though I don't know why you took away the supernatural elements, because you have a man get transformed to a monster, and you say that supernatural elements would make this movie hokey. This movie's hokey enough to begin with. Your excuse means absolutely nothing, in my opinion. Another negative. This movie suffers from having too many characters, and a lot of these characters don't really have anything to do. Cammy and T-Hawk are just there because of their association with Guile. Like I said, Blanca is completely underutilized. Ken and Ryu are used to the best of their abilities. Chun-Li, Balrog, and Honda, they're all used relatively well. They got some entertaining moments with one another. I particularly like the scene where Balrog and Honda are being held captive in a dungeon and being whipped, and you know they're fighting together. The scene with Chun-Li and Bison is a complete standout, and Bison has one of my favorite lines in the movie where Chun-Li is telling Bison, "No, because of you ransacked my village and killed my family." And Bison's like, "The day I came to your village, it changed your life, but to me, it was Tuesday." Bison with those savage quips, I love it. So yeah, from a production standpoint, the movie is well shot. You know, it looks. Steve D'Souza did a journeyman's job. The movie is fine. The use of practical effects are actually pretty cool looking back at it now. They look really good. The practical effects look really good. I'm not going to lie. The costumes look great. Bison is straight out of the game. He looks fantastic. And like I said, Raul Julia embodies that role perfectly. Like I said, Ken and Ryu, their outfits are very simple. It's just yellow and red karate suits. You can't go wrong with that. You know, Zangief looks right out of the game. You got the scars and the mohawk and everything. Honda, Balrog, they look fine. Chun-Li looks good. So, like, to this movie's credit, costume-wise, they did stay relatively faithful to the source material. Story-wise, this movie's got so many things going for it, and half the time you're just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Just give me some fighting. But it takes way too long to actually get to the fighting. But when you get to the fighting, it's corny, it's cheesy, yet it's very, very entertaining. But you do have some other things in between that do keep your interest. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Street Fighter 1994. Listen, this movie is not going to change the game. It's not going to change the world, but it's going to give you a good time. It's cheesy, fun. But again, I prefer the Mortal Kombat movie over this. I think the Mortal Kombat movie was more faithful to its source material, and I think Street Fighter kind of skewed away from it. However, taking away all that, this movie is entertaining, and I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's a cheesy good time, and when you watch it, you're going to feel good about yourself because you just saw something that was hilarious, ridiculous, but so much fun to watch. and you have Raul Julia giving an awesome over-the-top performance. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Street Fighter. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.